Alright guys, what's up? Welcome to the part 2 of the Ultimate Musa guide, and we're gonna start from gear progression first. So as you can see here, if you're a brand new player to the game and you're planning to main Musa, you're gonna want to start off with Gruno because it's a very easy green grade. You want to get a Laverdo, it should be easy enough for you to get. It's pretty cheap. It's worth the buy over a Bears or Uria, to be honest. Iron Crescent Blade, it's simple to get. A Whitehorn Bow. Asulas are generally really easy to get, and you're going to get them regardless because with this gear you are going to be grinding in the zones to get these accessories. I believe the earrings come from helms, as do the rings. The necklace comes from Abandoned Iron Mine, and the belt comes from Elric's. As long as you grind in those spots, you can get these drops, and then you can pretty much grind wherever needed. As far as crystals are going to go in this build, you're going to want the critical gem. There's going to be a lot of discussion with the Awakened Spirit Crystal. There's been a few tests that have been done, and it has been concluded that the Awakened Spirit Crystal is going to give you a 1% damage increase, whereas a critical magical crystal is going to give you a 3% damage increase overall. So if you're going for the damage, you're going to want the critical gem over the Awakened Spirit. Typically, people use the Awakened Spirit Crystal in tankier builds, which you're going to see later on, so I'm going to offer you guys multiple builds for the Musa. Main hand, you're going to want a Karme, Hidden AP +2, attack speed +1, critical hit rate 1. For some reason, I noticed these to do more damage than red battlefield crystals. There aren't any tests that I can give you, but if you would like to, you can go ahead and test it out yourself, and you will see more damage with the Karme. I would probably steer away from the red battlefield crystals because they're going to provide you less damage than the Karmes, and then the other crystal in here is going to be the precision, which also is going to give you more damage than a red battlefield. So make sure you stay away from the red battlefield crystals in your main hand. And then in your gloves, you're going to want 2 assaults for the 5 attack speed. In your shoes, you want to have 2 swiftness, because you really are going to need to have 4 movements because of Musa. It's just going to make you chase faster. And your helmet, you can go with intimidations. This is good for PvE, you won't get KD'd. It's also good in PvP. And in your chest, you're going to, unfortunately, as a Musa, you take up way too much mana while having to chase and use skills. So I found when I was a low level, I had to use Resonance, which is not PvP grade, but you're going to have to make do. And this is sort of one of the reasons why Musa isn't as effective in low gear, because you have to sacrifice stuff for just weird crystals, you have to worry about crit, and without boss gear, it's not going to be a very pleasant time, but just know that you're going to be able to get through it. Now that I have explained the +7 setup, once you get the +7 gear, your accessories are going to remain, because your biggest increases for what you're going to spend is going to come from armor and weapons. The first thing you're going to want to get when you upgrade your gear is get your weapons to try first, because that way when you grind, you're going to grind a lot quicker as compared to grinding at 80 AP and then going for armors. Doesn't make sense. So you want to get the weapons first, and then get your armors to golden grade and get them all to try. That's going to be the next step for you. It's going to get you up to 180, 181, 256, and that's going to let you grind in pretty much most of the main grind spots for income. As far as crystals go, they're going to remain the exact same as we mentioned previously, except for your gloves and your main hand. Now in your main hand, you're going to have a Karme, a precision, and 2 assaults. The Laverdo blade is going to give you 3 crits, so it's going to change up how you do this up a little bit. Once you get all that tri gear, I'd recommend getting your weapons first and then get your armors. I would still keep the Asulas as well, just focus on the boss gear. Because for Musa, especially, boss gear is going to make the biggest difference because of the crystal setup. It's going to change a lot when you get boss gear, and it's going to make Musa a lot more viable and usable for you. So as far as that goes, you're going to want to get Muskins, Tree, Gaiath, Begs, Dandelion, Zaka, and Nuber. I'm going to talk about this offhand in a second here. Now the reason you're going to want this over like Gruno or Heave or Wakaba is because these armors and weapons have hidden effects on them. They're a lot more pronounced than the regular sets. I will drop down the DP data mine in the description of the video, and you can see all the stats there. Muskets is going to give you hidden evasion. This is going to give you accuracy. This is going to have overall more DP and damage reduction and evasion compared to a Grunel, as well a Gaiath. Actually, the Gaiath I believe is pretty much the exact same as the Grunel, but like a little bit more DP. But it's better because you're going to get the 100 HP stack on the helmets. As far as the offhand goes, Nuver, there are a few offhands you could get. Right now, with the meta of the game, you're going to want the Nuver. I'm going to explain why in the next slide as far as gear goes. Now, as far as crystals go, it's going to change quite a bit. Your helmet and your shoes are going to remain the exact same. And your chest piece, we mentioned you had resonances. You can now get rid of these because with the boss gear bonus, you're going to get MP WPSP 100. So you can drop the resonance and plop in a giant and a vigor. In your gloves, you can put in a valor and a precision. And your weapon, you can put in a Karme and a precision because Kazarka gives you 3 attack speed. And then in your offhand, it's going to have 2 slots now. So we mentioned earlier that the crit is going to give you more damage than an Awakened Spirit, which is true. You put in 1 crit, and then a down attack. Down attack is huge on this class because the majority of our skills revolve around down attack. I'd like to say this is a very dramatic increase when you put any down attack. When you put any down attack crystal compared to another crit, you are actually going to notice your damage skyrocket to a lot. You're going to be hitting a lot harder with a down attack crystal plus a crit. It's actually very nice to have. Just make sure you got this crystal in your offhand. You can try it out. You can test out 2 crits and a down attack, and you will see, as I did, the down attack with a crit is going to do more damage. Alright, this is going to be one of 2 endgame builds I offer on the Musa. This build is going to be high damage. Very high damage. This is what's considered to be soft cap currently in the game. I say the tree belt is soft cap because it's a blue accessories. So getting a blue accessory to tap isn't that horrible as you might think. It's pretty easy. Okay, now with this build, your crystals are going to dramatically change a lot everywhere almost, except like for your offhand, shoes, and helmet. These accessories I'm going to explain here as well. Crystal changes. Now in Karmes, you're going to get Jin Karme and Bond Karme. With the Jin Karme, you can get an extra hidden 2 AP. With the Bond Karme, you're going to get a hidden 1 AP compared to the regular Karme you had before. In your gloves, you're going to get 2 Jin Vipers. That's 40 accuracy. That is a lot of accuracy. That with a Tet Tree Belt is 22 accuracy. With a Splendid Alchemy Solar Destruction, you're looking at 74 accuracy. Now this is what we're not counting in because the calculator does not calculate this. Your Tet weapons, well not the Nuver, but your Tet weapons, your Tet bags, also has accuracy on it. 74 accuracy plus the hidden off the Kazarga and maybe the Dandelion and the Begs. You're going to notice a significant increase in your damage just off of that. This is going to be enough accuracy. Now if I were to plump on a red coral earring at this point, I'm not actually gaining any more damage. I'm not going to hit the opponent anymore because I've pretty much hit the sweet spot in accuracy. If I start adding more accuracy, I'm just actually losing damage because I'm just dropping AP. If I put in another red coral, again, I'm losing AP. I'm not actually going to hit my opponent anymore. I'm going to start losing damage. I do not recommend going with any more accuracy than this. Once you have at least 70 accuracy, that's generally enough. And having that 250 AP is going to hit like a truck. When you have this build, you're going to be able to 2 to 3 shot anyone. If someone's hitting an evasion gear, they're just going to die in like half a combo. This is the current meta in the game with the Campus crystals. This is one of the 2 builds. The other build that works pretty well on Musa is a high HP and a decent amount of evasion. With this build, it's a little similar to the other build. There's a few different things. You're going to get the Tet Whale Molar earrings, and you're still going to have a tree belt. With the Whale Molar earrings, you're going to get 200 HP. The other difference is, instead of a Nuver, you're going to rock a Ultimate Rosar Horn Bow. Now unfortunately, we don't have a Vanguard's offhand or a Sayernaut Leather Vambrace. We don't have that kind of offhand, so The next best thing for us is the Tet Ultimate Rosar Hornbow. I believe the evasion on this is 32. I will put that in the description as well for the link to the dynamine for that. So if we have at least 30 evasion on this, let's say, this is another 20 evasion right here with each crystal, so 40, looking at about 50 evasion, which is pretty strong. It's going to be pretty nice. And then we're going to have lots of HP. I consider this build to still have good damage, but you're going to be a lot tankier. You're going to have a lot of HP, and you're going to have a little bit more survivability, and you're also going to be breaking the 300 DP mark. You're going to go from 283 DP to 215. So with this build, you're still going to be able to hit pretty hard, but you're going to be able to take a punch with this build. So this is the second build I would offer. I don't really think it's fit to get any more tankier than this, in my opinion, because once you start getting in like the 200 AP zone, if you fight someone else with this kind of gear, you're not going to be able to really kill them, and sometimes the fight might not even end. And I'd also like to say, in large scale, your job is to pretty much get kills and then die. So if your DP is so high, you're just really a nuisance in the siege scene or large scale scene, and you won't really be doing anything. So for that reason, I recommend, if you want a tankier build, I would say this is the good in-between build to still have damage and be able to take a few punches. So this should be another good alternative build for you guys. Rosar bow is great. It's got 2 slots, additional special attack damage, and then in your offhand, we're not going to be using crit and down attack. Because we're going for a tankier build, we're going to use the 2 Voltara Spirit Crystals for the 300 HP. 300 HP in this scenario will make sense because you're using a Rosar, so it makes a lot more sense to run that.